From our Washington, D.C. studios, this is the Muslim News on Muslim Network TV. Assalamu alaikum, I'm Hena Zuberi. Our top story for today. The State Department has condemned Israeli extremist groups, including 2 government ministers, storming Al-Aqsa Mosque in East Jerusalem this week, calling the action unacceptable and detrimental to ongoing ceasefire efforts. Waving Israeli flags and performing rituals, the Israeli settlers entered through the Al-Mugharba gate, a common entry point for such incursions. Al-Aqsa Mosque is the 3rd holiest site in Islam. Israeli extremists, under Israeli police protection, routinely force themselves into the area as a show of force. They claim the Islamic holy site is built on an ancient Jewish temple. Deputy spokesperson Vedant Patel emphasized that U.S. supports maintaining the historic status of Jerusalem's holy sites. He has also warned that any unilateral moves threatening this status are unacceptable. It also could hurt the broader goal of a 2-state solution in the region. Patel stressed that such actions undermine crucial diplomatic efforts and the pursuit of peace. Israel's occupation and annexation of East Jerusalem since 1967 remains unrecognized internationally. The American Association of University Professors has endorsed academic boycotts against Israel, marking a significant departure from its previous stance. This change follows the International Court of Justice's ruling accusing Israel of apartheid and ongoing investigations into its potential genocide in Gaza. The AAUP's new policy, diverging from its 2006 position, acknowledges academic boycotts can be a valid response to severe breaches of academic freedom and human rights. The association, which has long championed academic freedom, now supports the right of individual faculty and students to choose their involvement in boycotts. It has, however, asked students to target institutions that violate fundamental academic principles, not individual scholars. This decision aligns with similar moves by other academic groups, reflecting growing international concerns over Israel's war on Gaza. Israeli airstrikes have killed 36 Palestinians in Gaza in the past 24 hours, according to the enclave's health ministry. The Wednesday morning attacks targeted multiple areas, including Nusayrat, Maghazi, Khan Yunis, and Rafah. In Nusayrat camp, Israel killed 7 people while they were in their homes. In Khan Yunis, 4 people were killed in the residential apartment building, 3 were killed in the Maghazi camp, and another 3 in Rafah's Tal as-Sultan neighborhood. Additionally, 2 people were killed by sniper fire in Bani Suhaila, east of Khan Yunis. The Israeli military has also reported the deaths of 2 Palestinian civil defense members in Rafah, identified as Fire Sergeant Sohaib Adil Abu Taqiyya and Sergeant Hussein Diab Abu Jamous. Israel's violence extended beyond Gaza, with 5 Palestinians killed in Tobas Governorate in the occupied West Bank, including 4 from a drone strike in Tamum. The UN's humanitarian agency has highlighted the alarming frequency of Israeli strikes on schools, citing a recent attack in Gaza City that killed at least 100 people. The Euro-Mediterranean Human Rights Monitor reports that nearly 17,000 Palestinian children have been killed since October 7th last year, with almost 2,100 being infants under 2. Israel has killed at least 39,965 Palestinians and wounded 92,294 others in Gaza over the past 9 months. Israel stands accused of genocide at the International Court of Justice, which has ordered Tel Aviv to immediately halt its military operation. Flaunting a UN Security Council resolution demanding an immediate ceasefire, Israel has faced international condemnation amidst its continued brutal war on Gaza. A new report reveals that 35 county officials nationwide who were previously involved in attempts to undermine election results remain in office and could obstruct the 2024 election. The comprehensive study by Citizens for Responsibility and Ethics in Washington, or CREW, highlights that these rogue officials and their potential to disrupt the certification process. Their role in key swing states like Arizona, Georgia, and Michigan will prove crucial in determining election results. Despite laws making election certification a strict duty, CREW's report notes, some officials have already tested their obstructive tactics in less significant elections. The report calls for federal intervention if states fail to act, stressing that safeguarding the electoral process is crucial to prevent similar disruptions as seen in 2020. At a recent Las Vegas rally, economic justice advocates urged Vice President Kamala Harris to champion more impactful reform for the working class. While Harris backed eliminating taxes on tips, critics argue that this measure alone would not resolve the struggles of tipped workers, who often earn less than minimum wage. A report from the group One Fair Wage reveals that ending tip taxes would not significantly aid many workers who already make too little to pay taxes. Advocates and unions stress that a livable minimum wage rather than tax breaks is the key to improving economic stability and workplace safety. As Harris campaigns for president, her focus on raising the minimum wage and addressing subminimum pay could make a substantial difference for millions of workers. Executive editor of the American Prospect, David Dayan, notes that the culinary union supports eliminating the subminimum wage for tipped workers, which Nevada did at the state level last year.
And it is my promise to everyone here, when I am president, we will continue our fight for working families of America. Including to raise the minimum wage and eliminate taxes on tips for service and hospitality workers.
A breakthrough discovery. Massive underground water reservoir on Mars sparks new life possibilities. Details come after the break. Stay tuned and we'll be right back. Welcome back. In a revolutionary find, scientists have uncovered a colossal underground water reservoir on Mars, potentially large enough to fill oceans. Revealed in the proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences, the water is trapped in tiny fractures 7 to 12 miles beneath the Martian surface. This discovery is based on seismic data from NASA's InSight lander. It could transform the understanding of Mars's climate and its potential to support life. Varshan Wright from UC San Diego highlights its significance, saying understanding Martian water is key to deciphering its climate and geological history. Co-author Michael Maungdaw notes that this vast reservoir could indicate past or present habitable conditions. While the discovery holds promise for future Mars missions, accessing such deep water would require advanced technology and significant resources. Scientists say this breakthrough marks a pivotal moment in the quest to explore Mars' hidden depths. The family of the late soul legend Isaac Hayes has demanded Donald Trump cease playing the song "Hold On, I'm Coming" at his campaign rallies. They're insisting the Republican presidential candidate pay $3 million in licensing fees. Hayes' son sent a legal notice to Trump and his team, which was also shared on social media, threatening to sue Trump if he does not comply by August 16th. Hayes' family cited 134 instances where Trump's campaign used the song. The song, co-written by Isaac Hayes and David Porter, was the first performed by the duo Sam and David in 1966. Hayes died in 2008. The humanitarian crisis in Somalia is deepening as drought and conflict worsen conditions for displaced citizens. In the capital, Mogadishu, internally displaced persons camp, food shortages are increasing following the Somali government cutting financial support for the World Food Programme's electronic card system. Nearly 150,000 Somalis have been displaced due to clan conflicts since January, with 42,000 fleeing violence in Luke and 26,000 abandoning homes in the Mudug region. Violence, including the destruction of Luke's main market, has triggered these displacements. The conflict has also crippled vital services like health, nutrition, and sanitation. Women, children, and the elderly, who form the majority of the displaced, are particularly vulnerable. The United Nations warns that humanitarian needs will remain high in 2024, with 6.9 million people requiring aid. Despite a $1.6 billion funding requirement, only $507 million has been received. More than 13,000 Rohingya Muslims and hundreds of other residents have been forced to flee Maungdaw township in western Burma due to escalating clashes between the military and the Arakan army. The Arakan army, which seeks control of Rakhine State, has driven more than 15,000 people from their homes since August the 7th. Many of the displaced are now in shelters provided by the Arakan army, while others are attempting to cross into neighboring Bangladesh. Recent violence has resulted in numerous casualties, with homemade rockets and drones targeting Rohingya at a riverbank. The Arakan army has denied responsibility for these attacks. Meanwhile, the Burmese military's tight control is preventing many from escaping. Approximately 1 million Rohingya refugees live in tightly packed border camps in Bangladesh. Most fled there in 2017 to escape a genocide in Rakhine State, largely blamed on the Burmese military. Paris 2024 has set a new standard in Olympic catering, delighting Muslim athletes with an exceptional range of halal food. The Games featured a culinary diversity unprecedented in Olympic history, with 36 Muslim-majority countries competing and a halal menu served to thousands daily. Two massive Olympic Village venues catered to 3,800 guests, offering 40,000 meals each day, with options including halal, gluten-free, and lactose-free dishes. Chefs crafted more than 550 recipes across 4 culinary themes: French, World, Asian, and African Caribbean. However, France, which accommodates halal food, did not allow French athletes to wear hijab. The last few decades has seen the country's ongoing targeting of religious visibility, especially when it comes to Muslims. At the Paris Games placed France in the world spotlight, the hijab ban enforced on the French National Olympics team did not play well on the international stage. Problems arose even before the opening ceremonies, when it was reported that French Olympic sprinter Sonkamba Saila would not be permitted to participate because of her hijab. The lasting image from those games, in the face of France's bans on hijab and religious clothing, is that of Sifan Hassan, a Dutch middle and long distance runner. She received the Olympic gold medal on the last day of the Games. Hassan chose to wear a maroon hijab with her bright orange tracksuit, creating a striking image and statement in France. Hundreds of legal experts have called on President Joe Biden to end American economic sanctions on Cuba on the occasion of the 75th anniversary of the Fourth Geneva Convention. In their letter, the experts say these sanctions amount to collective punishment, which is a violation of international law, highlighting the severe impact on Cuban civilians, ranging from food shortages to a weakened economy. The letter asserts that such measures inflict widespread harm, similar to war crimes. Despite a global consensus against the embargo, which saw a 187-2 UN vote last year, the US persists in its sanctions policy. The Cuban government claims the blockade cost the country's economy nearly $5 billion in just one 11-month period in 2022 and 2023 alone. Legal experts are urging a re-evaluation of US foreign policy to align with international humanitarian standards. Hundreds of millions of people currently live under broad US economic sanctions in some form. These include Cuba, Iran, North Korea, Syria, and Venezuela. Analysts have highlighted the hypocrisy of the US sanctioning nations on human rights, but supporting violators of these same rights, like Israel. Top hackers at Defcon's voting village in Las Vegas last week found serious security flaws in voting machines and e-poll books. However, despite their efforts to identify and expose weaknesses, time constraints mean fixes are unlikely before Election Day in November. Observers say this year's heightened scrutiny over election security makes the timing of these findings particularly critical. These have been prompted by concerns over foreign interference and allegations of fraud from the 2020 election. Analysts say that the inability to implement changes may fuel skepticism about the integrity of the vote. The Defcon event itself faces security concerns of its own, with the voting village kept off the main show floor in order to prevent harassment from election denialists. That's all from our Washington, D.C. studios tonight. Thank you for tuning in. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell icon for the latest updates. Your support is needed more than ever to continue our mission of providing informative, educational, and inspiring content in North America and around the world. Donate now by visiting muslimnetwork.tv/donate. For more content, keep watching Muslim Network TV and visit our website. Assalamu alaikum and have a good night.